Have you ever followed someone online, a YouTuber, a streamer, and felt like you actually know them? Like you're on the inside, you get them, you're almost friends, even though you've never met? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on that feeling. We're diving deep into the powerful and sometimes really dangerous connections we build with the people on our screens.
This right here, this quote, it absolutely nails the paradox we're talking about. It's from the guys who first studied this way back in the 50s. So we're going to explore how this whole one-sided friendship thing works, how the internet has basically put it on steroids, and, this is the important part, when it crosses the line and turns toxic.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down today. First up, we'll define what a parasocial relationship actually is. Then we'll dig into how platforms like YouTube are masters at creating this feeling of closeness. From there, we'll get into the messy part, when these bonds go bad. We'll even look at a real-world case study of an activist community to see it in action. And finally, we'll give you a toolkit for spotting the red flags yourself. Okay, let's start with Section 1, the friend you don't know. Now, you might think this is a new thing, a product of the internet age, right? But nope. This idea has been around for over 60 years, way before anyone ever shouted, "Smash that like button." So this is the key term for today, a parasocial relationship. And the crucial part is that it is a one-way street. It's a psychological bond where you feel like you know them, you're invested, you feel that friendship, but they have no idea who you are. The whole thing is built on an illusion of intimacy, even if it feels 100% real to you. And you can really see the difference when you put them side by side. You know, a real friendship, that's a two-way street. It's about give and take, shared experiences, effort from both sides. But a parasocial relationship, it's totally one-sided. You're just observing their experiences, and all of the emotional energy, all the effort is flowing in one direction, from you to them. Which brings us to our next section, because if this idea started with old-school TV and radio hosts, man, platforms like YouTube have perfected it. They have engineered an entire ecosystem designed to create and amplify that feeling of intimacy. So how do they do it? Well, there's a formula. First, they look right into the camera, making you feel like they're looking right at you. Then they'll share really personal stuff, their struggles, their vulnerabilities, add in near constant content, daily vlogs, hours-long live streams, so they're always there. And the final ingredient? Just enough interaction, reading your comment, a quick shout out to make it feel like a real conversation. And all of that together creates this incredibly powerful thing called the illusion of reciprocity. Your brain is basically being tricked. It's getting all the signals of a real friendship, the eye contact, the personal stories, the back and forth, so it starts to believe it's real. It feels like they're giving back, even when they're not. Now look, feeling a connection with a creator isn't automatically a bad thing. It can be fun, comforting, totally harmless. But the danger zone is when that feeling of friendship, that loyalty, starts to get exploited. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What happens when a creator knows exactly how powerful this connection is and starts to use it, to manipulate it for their own benefit? That's when you start seeing these major warning signs pop up. Suddenly, the creator can do no wrong. They're an unquestionable authority. Any criticism, even if it's fair, is treated like a hateful attack. Your own identity might get wrapped up in defending them. And pretty soon, every little disagreement is framed as a huge loyalty test. Are you with us? Are you against us? And don't just take my word for it. The research here is pretty stark. In the most extreme cases, when that line between the online friendship and reality gets completely erased, it can lead to some seriously dangerous delusional behavior. This isn't just about online drama anymore. All right, so let's take all this theory and apply it to a real-world and really complex situation. We're going to look at the community built around the YouTuber and anti-Scientology activist Aaron Smith-Levin, as detailed in our source material. This community is a pretty potent example of how these intense parasocial bonds can be forged, especially when there's a powerful shared mission that brings everyone together. So the analysis points to a few key manipulation tactics. The first one is a big one: blurring the line between personal beefs and the actual activism. This is where creators' private arguments with, say, other activists get twisted. Suddenly, it's not just a personal disagreement. No, it's a fight for the soul of the entire movement. This puts you, the follower, in a tough spot. If you disagree with the creator, you're not just disagreeing with a person, you're now an enemy of the cause. Okay, the next technique, this is where things get really ugly. The
the weaponization of personal privacy. We're talking about moving beyond arguments and into real-world threats, using the legal system or threatening to expose private information to silence critics or former friends. It's designed to create fear. People become terrified to speak up because they know their private life could be put on blast. It's a textbook move to shut down any dissent. Third, you have this constant narrative of being the victim. In this playbook, the creator is always the one under attack. Every criticism, every legal consequence they face for their own actions, it's all reframed as a massive conspiracy by their enemies. This is brilliant in a dark way, because it makes their followers feel protective. It rallies the base to defend their leader, who, they believe, is being unfairly persecuted. And what ties this all together? The monetization of all that drama. See, the conflict stops being just a side effect of the work. It becomes the main product. All the juicy details, the responses to lawsuits, the attacks on critics, the community infighting, that stuff gets locked behind a paywall. This creates a really clear financial reason to keep the drama going, because outrage and conflict are literally driving the revenue stream. So you take all these tactics, you mix them together, and what do you get? You transform a community into a fortress. You create a super loyal us versus them echo chamber, where any outside criticism isn't just a critique of the leader, it's seen as a direct attack on the entire group, on you. Which brings us to our final and maybe most important section. How can you spot this stuff in the wild? How can you protect yourself from falling into these traps? Let's turn this into a simple guide. So here's your checklist. Be on high alert if a creator frames any and all criticism as an attack on the mission. Raise an eyebrow when old friends who disagree suddenly get labeled enemies or traitors. Definitely pay attention if the juiciest drama is always behind a paywall. And if they ever threaten to ruin someone's personal life or demand total blind loyalty from you, that's a massive red flag. At the end of the day, this isn't about saying you can't enjoy creators or feel connected to them. Of course you can. It's just about having your eyes open. Recognizing these patterns is the absolute key to making sure you're in a healthy relationship with the content you consume. So, I'll just leave you with this one last question to think about. Scroll through your own feed, your own subscriptions. Who in your world has this kind of influence? And more importantly, are they using that power to build up a healthy community, or are they using it to build a cult of personality?